Louisiana All-American Sports Show. 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 Louisiana. If the sports you want to talk about, then listen to the hottest show that's coming out the South. It's Eric Hatfield and Coach Perry Daniels, man. They're gonna sit you down and tell you all about the game and make it plain. 96.9 FM, that's the station. To hear the best sports talk show in the nation. Without hesitation, you should get with this and get your popcorn ready, boy. You better not miss Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana All-American Sports Show. Louisiana. It's Joker Bay. Check us out.
Hey, welcome to another Louisiana All-American Sports Show. We are live today right here in the radio station. I am Mission Control Lindell Mitchell. And we also are streaming live on YouTube as well. So if you get a chance to don't get the chance to catch the whole show, you can always come back to Louisiana All-American Sports on YouTube. It's LAAS. I'm sorry, LAAS Network on YouTube. All right. And for the nation's capital, we have
Coach Perry Daniels.
All right, man. Now we're juggling two different things, man. So
hey man, you continuously take Louisiana All-American Sports to higher levels.
Hey man, just trying
that.
Hey, just trying to do our part.
Bill, man, I'm just shocked, man. I'm shocked that white women in the country didn't listen to Taylor Swift.
Yeah. We got a new president, new former president, I guess. Should we say? Huh?
Absolutely. Hey, and we know that a lot of folks out there are extremely disappointed. And we're going to try to be a little more jovial today to kind of brighten you all's day.
Yeah. We could use some joy after Tuesday.
Absolutely, man. But we got a lot of high school sports to discuss, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. The volleyball playoffs have started. We had the last week of football, so now the playoff selection Sunday is tomorrow for high school sports, for high school football here in Louisiana. And so, man, we got a lot to talk about. Let's jump right into it. Little Josh, take it away. Hey, so what's happening, man? The Steve for football. We're gonna start off at District 4 5A. And actually, let me start off by saying this: we did not have a Friday night game of the week. We had a family emergency, so we could not do the Friday night game of the week this week. So hopefully, we'll be able to kind of bring it back next week with a playoff game, first round game, and we'll see. Who's all in the Baton Rouge area, who lands where, who has a home game, and we'll keep you posted on that. So you can check that out on our Facebook page, Louisiana All-American Sports, to find an update. You'll see a flyer or something midweek promoting Friday night's game.
And Dale, before we jump into the scores from this week, the seedings that was scheduled for tomorrow may be delayed. It may not come out tomorrow,
okay,
because U High has filed for an injunction on the ruling that said that LHSAA said that they had 2 ineligible players playing, and I guess we need to discuss that, Dale. First.
Yes. Start us off with that. What happened?
Okay, so this past week, the Louisiana High School Athletic Association came down with a ruling that took 7 victories away from University High. And that ruling was based on 2 kids that transferred from Liberty High that live in McKinley's attendance zone, yet they are enrolled at U High and were playing football for U High.
So wait. So why would that be an issue if U High is a private institution?
Well, I guess that's what they're going to discuss in the lawsuit. I guess that's what the judge will decide. That's a great question. Why is that an issue if U High is a private institution? It's actually one of those parochial institutions, like a Southern Lab.
Southern Lab, yeah. It's not technically private, but
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So we'll see how that plays out. That's going to affect a lot of seedings because the power rankings are based not only on your record, but the record of your opponents. And there are a lot of opponents that want to see U High have those victories, like Port Allen Highdale.
Yes, we need it. We need it, baby. Put them back at the top. But I will say too, there's also on the other side, there's a couple of opponents that don't want to see them have those wins, like a Catholic who lost to U High early in the year.
That's right. Because Catholic, if this ruling stands, Catholic finishes with an undefeated season.
Right.
So there's a lot going on here, and it's going to be interesting how this shakes out over the next few days. U High, for their defense, they cite Rule 5.2 states that the Louisiana High School Athletic Association shall not investigate violations reported during a 10-day period prior to the end of the regular season. So they're saying that even the timing of this investigation was inappropriate.
Yeah, because it happened on Monday. We got the news on Monday or Tuesday. And yeah, they had a game on Thursday. Their last game was on Thursday. Wow. Okay. And I'm thinking that part of it, maybe did those kids transfer after a cutoff period?
Well, yeah, I don't know the particulars. So
yeah,
U High said this. Not only did they say that the timing of the investigation was inappropriate, they also said that the website used to verify eligibility of the students based on their home addresses listed both students as residing in the McKinley zone. They say that they disclosed that.
Oh, so they gave out that information already.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just not understanding what's the issue. They're a select school, so they're able to select their kids. You have them in that category. I don't see what the issue is here. I can see if it was like a non-select school, maybe like a Broadmoor or Terra, where, they have to go into certain zones. They can't go past certain zones. But then even they have, well, no. So Bramo and Terra, that would make absolute complete sense. But for U High, who is a select school, I don't get it. I don't get it. And, it's hard to kind of cipher all this information because, LHSA has a policy where they don't reveal all the information out.
Based on an investigation they did at McKinley, released it to the press, throwing McKinley under the bus.
Yeah.
And after that, they changed their policy to where they would no longer disclose their rationale during their investigation or their findings from their investigations. So this is going to be interesting, Dale. It's not often on Louisiana All-American Sports that in week 10 we say U High gets their first victory of the year.
Right. Yeah, that's I don't think I've ever heard that one. That's true.
But that happened this past week. U High defeated Port Allen 49-14 for their first victory, official victory of the year as of now.
Yeah, man, that was a rough game. I was at that game. Port Allen, 2 touchdowns were scored by the great Brennan Gibson, man. Kid is just tearing the field up. But Port Allen was able to stack the box. U High was able to stack the box to stop the run. And unfortunately, Port Allen hasn't developed a passing game just quite yet. And so we had a lot of issues. It's basically a one-sided kind of event. So, yeah, shout out to U High Cubs on their first victory.
Man, in another game in the Baton Rouge area, Dale, this game here, man, Catholic versus Zachary.
Yeah, I know.
when you hear those two teams going head to head, you know it's going to be a lot of good football, right?
Yeah.
But most people don't expect a score of 73-55. Catholic High pulls out the victory against the Zachary Broncos, scoring on 10 straight possessions, Dale.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. When I first saw the score, I was like, oh, they play basketball this early? It's like usually they don't play until late, December. These two teams don't play, they're in the same district. I'm like, usually, they wait till district play to play each other. And then I was like, no, that's the football score. I was like, wow, Catholic and Zachary not playing defense? That's unheard of.
That is unheard of. But Catholic High's got something going on their offense, man. Their offense was clicking on all cylinders, and they were just unstoppable Friday night or Thursday night, whenever they played that game.
Yeah, it was Thursday night. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, let's stay with that district 4-5A. Central defeated Scotlandville 36-20 was the final score there. Liberty fell to Woodlawn in a good matchup. 14-15 was the final score. Woodlawn Panthers defeated Liberty. And then we had, that's it for 4-5A. Moving on to 5-5A, we have Denham Springs versus Santa Ma. Santa Ma wins that game 38-8 there.
Giving the Gators, the Santa Ma gives the Gators a share of the District 5-5A title.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah. All right, Dutchtown versus Live Oak. Dutchtown defeated Live Oak 42-13 there. We needed Eric on that one.
And that's the Dutchtown is the co-champion of that 5-5A district with Santa Ma.
All right, and then we had East Ascension versus Walker. Walker fell 38-17 was the final score. East Ascension. I watched that game, man. Walker jumped out on East Ascension 14-0. I thought, oh man, this Walker team is pretty good. And they just could not get anything going. EA just ran the ball very well against Walker. They tightened up on defense. They was able to stop everything and just kind of shut down Walker's offense. So EA is going to be a tough team, man. Tough team to play against, if they end up in a playoff spot, because I know they had a rough season, but
right.
That was I was very impressed with how EA was able to gain their composure and come back in that game. That was a good game.
Okay. I always like watching those Spartans, man. I like the colors, the whole atmosphere that they produce.
All right, Prairieville High defeated St. Thomas Aquinas 41-7. That's a good win for that school to close out the year. All right, moving on to district.
Oh, wait. Say that again.
Yeah, Prairieville High defeated St. Thomas Aquinas.
Wow, congratulations. That's their first
41-7.
victory of the year, right?
Yeah.
The first victory in their history.
Yeah, but if you don't know Prairieville High, this is their first year of their football program. And they're a brand new school. Actually, this is the first year of the school itself in existence. So congratulations to Prairieville High with ending on a positive note. All right. Yeah. Moving on to District 6-4A, we have Bel Air versus Baker. Baker defeated Bel Air 15-8. It seemed like a pretty good game there.
Yeah, that does seem like a pretty good game.
Broadmoor fell to Plaquemine 6-51 was the final score there. Plaquemine just keeps on rolling, man. This is going to be very interesting to see where Plaquemine ends up in the playoffs. This is a very, very tough team, man. And I can see this team in the dome, man, the way they playing.
Plaquemine, the 6-4A champions by that victory, and the only loss that Plaquemine has encountered this year was the first game of the season, Dale, where they lost to Zachary 49-14. Yep. That Plaquemine team has won 9 in a row.
Yeah, they've been on a roll, man. Another good game, man. Physical. When you talk about Zachary versus Catholic, where no defense. Well, this was all defense. Bruley High versus Ostroma, which was a huge game. Both teams came in with 2 losses. Bruley walked away with the win. 7-6 was the final score there.
Wow, that sounds like a really good football game. Great job, Bruley, for pulling that victory out.
All right, McKinley fell to St. Michael the Archangel. 7-14 was the final score there.
And that was an overtime game, Dale. Yeah, 2 overtimes.
2 overtimes. And then we had Terra versus West Feliciana. Terra defeated West Feliciana 42-6. Moving on to District 6-3A. A bunch of zeros in these some of these games. Collegiate versus Cecilia. Cecilia defeated Collegiate 54-0. Parkview Baptist defeated Glen Oaks 57-0. Madison Prep defeated Helix Mentorship Academy 45-0. And we already gave you the Port Allen and U-High game, but we'll give it to you again. U-High defeated Port Allen 49-14 was the final score there.
Man, all right. That's got to be disappointing. The last game of the season after 9 weeks. In fact, Collegiate did not score a point the entire season, Dale. Not one.
Yeah, that's tough for Collegiate, but they did get a win.
They did get a win. They beat U-High.
Which I checked the power rankings after the power rankings. they were eligible for a playoff.
Oh, based on that victory.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So if the ruling stands, UHI may be able, Collegiate may be able to get an extra game. So this year.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, that's tough for Collegiate, man. They have a very small team. They played Port Allen week 9. So I got to see them again. I actually got to see them at the beginning of the year. They looked very out of control. They were very undisciplined at the Jamboree, the EBR Jamboree. However, this time when I see them at Port Allen, they were much more level-headed, and they just couldn't make the plays, man. So it's a small program. Not a lot of kids. I think they might have about 18 or 19 players and max. And so, you got a lot of guys going two ways. So it's tough, man. It's tough for a school that's just starting off.
No doubt about that.
To kind of get that get their feet under football programs, on some football programs that have been running for years and have already kind of established themselves.
Especially in a competitive area like Baton Rouge.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on to District 8, 2A. We gave you the Baker Bel Air. We had Capital versus Episcopal. Episcopal 72-0 over Capital. Dunham defeated Slaughter Community Charter 56-16.
Giving Dunham an undefeated season. Is that correct?
So. I believe so. I have to double check that. All right. The Country Classic. That's the game that we was actually going to give to you last night. Country
those
Classic.
Folks are disappointed too, I'm sure, man. Yeah. They look forward to Louisiana All-American sports coming out there.
Yeah, we'll be out there for basketball for sure.
Yeah.
East Feliciana defeated them, Northeast 50-6. So I think Northeast is probably happy we didn't come out.
Dunham is undefeated, man. They have not lost all year, 10-0.
Man, that's gonna be interesting. They're probably gonna be number 1 because they're district, they're Division 2 select, so they could be number 1. It's gonna be interesting to see where they land for the playoff run. All right, moving on to District 9, 1A. Central Private versus Kenwood. Kenwood defeated Central Private 42-8 was the final score there. Thrive versus Southern Lab. Southern Lab defeated Thrive 64-0 was the final score there. And that wraps up all our football scores. Let's
no, Dale. 4-5A. 4-5A. District 4-5A.
Did I gave those scores already.
Oh, did
Skylerville, yeah. I gave those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great job.
All right. All right, now let's give the ladies some love, man. The volleyball playoffs started this week on Tuesday was the first day of matchups. So we had we're just gonna give you first round, the by district is what they call it, and we're gonna give you just the Baton Rouge area schools for now. All right. So we had Liberty make the first round. They fell to Fountain Blue 3-0. 3 matches to 0. It's called 3 straight sets. That's what it's called. All right. St. Joseph's Academy versus Baton Rouge High. 3-1 was the final score there. As Baton Rouge High falls out of the playoffs, and St. Joseph's Academy moves on to play Hanville in the next round. And we have Denham Springs versus Benton. Denham Springs 3 straight sets. Denham Springs will move on to play Dutchtown, who defeated Mandeville in 3 straight sets. So that should be a pretty good one.
Yes.
Central Baton Rouge defeated Captain Shreve 3 straight sets. They will move on to face Archbishop Chappelle, who they actually already played, and Central fell to Archbishop 3-1 was the final set score there. Walker fell to Archbishop Chappelle in the first round, 3 straight sets to 0 there. And then that is it for the Division 1 of the volleyball playoffs. Division 2 volleyball, we had Scotlandville, who fell in the second round to St. Thomas More, three straight sets. But Scotlandville did defeat Edna Carr in the first round 3-1. And then we had Bruley, who fell 3 straight sets as well to Northwood Shreveport. Plaquemine also fell 3 straight sets again to North Vermilion in the first round. And that is it for that there. For Division
Did the Port Allen girls make it there?
Oh, they're in Division. The Port Allen's in Division 3.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I'm about to go to them now.
Okay.
Yeah. So Port Allen actually played Westlake in the first round. Unfortunately, Port Allen fell to 3 straight sets to Westlake. West Feliciana also was in the first round. They also lost to Iota in 3 straight sets. Parkview Baptist defeated De La Salle in 3 straight sets. And they moved on to play Lutcher High School. Lutcher defeated Madison Prep in 3 straight sets in the first round. Parkview then returned the favor to Lutcher and defeated them in 3 straight sets in the second round. And so now Parkview will go on to play St. Michael, the Archangel, in the quarterfinals. And St. Michael got there by defeating New Orleans Charter Science and Math in the first round and defeating Eunice in the second round. And both of those games were in 3 straight sets. So St. Michael hadn't lost a match yet in the playoffs. Wow. So that's going to be a really good one, man. St. Michael's sitting at the number 4 seed. Parkview is sitting at the 5th seed for the quarterfinal matchup that will play on the 14th.
Okay.
All right. Edie White defeated Estruma in 3 straight sets. Edie White will move on to face St. Louis Catholic, and they fell already to St. Louis Catholic. Edie White already defeated St. Louis Catholic, and now they're in the quarterfinals as well. And they will play Vanderbilt Catholic in the quarterfinals. Then we have U-High, who had no eligibility. The ladies didn't have any eligibility issues there. And they had to play. They played Collegiate in the first round. And just like on the football field, Collegiate fell 3 straight sets to U-High. And U-High moved on to play Berwick. The final set match there was 3-2, U-High over Berwick. And U-High moves on to play Haynes Academy in the quarterfinals. So to recap this, U-High versus Haynes Academy, number 7 versus number 2 in the quarterfinals. Edie White versus Vanderbilt Catholic, number 6 and number 3. We have St. Michael, the Archangel, versus Parkview, the number 4 seed and number 5 seed. And then we have Westlake versus Archbishop Hannah, the number 9 seed and the number 1 seed in the quarterfinals for Division 3. And some of the smaller divisions, they play a little bit faster than in some of the bigger districts.
Any more Baton Rouge area schools?
Yeah, we got Division 4. All right, Dunham made it all the way to the quarterfinals. Dunham defeated Evangeline Christian in the first round and Notre Dame in the second round. Notre Dame was a closer matchup. 3-2 was the final score there. And now Dunham has the privilege of facing the Evil Empire, John Curtis, the number 1 seed in the quarterfinals. And that is it for Division 2. I don't see any other Baton Rouge area schools. I'm sorry, for Division 4. All right, now moving on to the final district division, Division 5. Southern Lab was the 32 seed. They fell to Metairie Park Country Day, who's actually the defending champions in Division 5. 3 straight sets. Country Day defeated Southern Lab there. And Northeast fell to Ascension Episcopal in the first round, 3 straight sets there. And Family Christian fell to Westminster Christian Lafayette, 3 straight sets there. And that is Central Private defeated St. John 3-2 in the first round. And then they moved on to the second round and fell to Westminster Christian, 3 straight sets there. So that is it for all of our volleyball scores. We'll keep you updated next week with the rest of the playoffs.
And Dale, you mentioned the Evil Empire, John Curtis. We want to mention that a friend of the show and head football coach of the St. Augustine football program.
Yeah.
Our good friend, Coach Valdez, his St. Aug Purple Knights defeated John Curtis 28-20 this week.
Yeah. I meant to mention that score. That was a great win. Great closeout win for St. Aug and Coach Valdez. Shout out to Coach Valdez, man.
Absolutely.
That's a tough win, man. That's
a huge win. That is a huge win.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's take it to the bluff, man.
Let's do it.
The Southern University Jaguars. Coach, take it away.
You gonna stop the band?
I'm trying to. It's a new system, man. It's a new system. The band wanted to get they shine in, man.
I don't blame them. They're worth it. Well, the Southern Jaguars traveled to Huntsville, Alabama to take on Connell Maynard and the Alabama A&M Bulldogs this past week. Southern came out victorious 25-20 in that game, keeping them atop of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Western Division, man. This is just great for a first-year head coach and in Coach Graves. It's just great that his program, his team, his era on the bluff starts out in such a tremendous fashion. The Jaguars are now 4-1, and on their heels is Alcorn State at 3-2. Prairie View Texas Southern and Arkansas Pine Bluff are all 2-3, and Grambling State is in last place in the Western Division with a 1-4 record. Dale, Xavier T-Set played very well in this game against Alabama A&M. And, we really didn't know who was going to be the starting quarterback for Southern. Noah Barton did not play very well in Tallahassee. And so we kind of knew that there would be a battle for the starting position for this week. Mm-hmm. Xavier T-Set played so well, Dale, that he was named SWAC Offensive Player of the Week. The young man threw, well, I'm not even going to say what he did because it's part of the lead in to the question of Coach Graves. I had an opportunity to ask Coach Graves what he thought about his quarterback play, and this is what he had to say.
All right. Yeah, man. Xavier T-Set had a tremendous game, man. He finished the game with 24 of 37, 294 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Dale, check your mic and make sure that it's live going out on the air. I got a text saying that I'm the only person being heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lord. When you're trying to run two different things, man. All right. Yeah, we got it now.
Okay. So, wow. I guess they were trying to figure out what the heck is going on.
To catch the audience up, man. I am running the switchboard for the radio station, 96.9 FM WHYR Baton Rouge Community Radio. And I am trying to run the switchboard for our live YouTube channel. So if all my radio listening audience, if you missed the first half of the show, please, you can catch it on YouTube at Louisiana All-American Sports Network. I shortened it LAAS Network, all one word. And once you type that into the YouTube, you'll be able to find this show live broadcasting. So we're going to do this from now on each radio show. So if you don't get a chance to catch the show, you'll be able to catch it on our YouTube if you don't get a chance to catch it live over the radio.
Yes. Wow.
Sorry about that. Well, old dogs learning new tricks, man. Hold on.
Absolutely. Things happen, man. What's really sad, though, they missed all your good commentary, early on.
Hey, it's on YouTube, baby. It's on YouTube.
Yes. So I'm wondering, did the soundbite of Coach Graves play over the air?
It did because
Okay.
that's going through another port.
Okay, great.
They just couldn't hear me.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Doc. I appreciate that, good brother. Sure appreciate that. Man, so Xavier T-Set is the man going forward, looks like, Dale.
Hey, man, I'm not mad at that, man. We talked a lot about Noah Biden last week and his struggles, and it seems to be more of internal issues. It doesn't seem to be like a line or offensive line or receivers or the meshing with the two or anything like that. It just seems like it's just Noah Biden. So having Xavier and T-Set be successful in this offense, it tells you, okay, the offense is working. The offensive coordinator may be a better fit for TZ than he is for Noah Biden. So it's unfortunate for this kid. He has a lot of talent, but it's going to be interesting to see where Xavier T-Set goes from here.
Absolutely. Dale, I found it interesting that Coach Graves mentioned his basketball experience, him being a point guard for Scotlandville and the state championships that they've won, and that helps his composure on the football field.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Sample, getting love right there.
Shout
man.
out to Coach Sample, absolutely.
Yeah,
there were some other standouts performers for the Jaguars. Darren Morris had 5 receptions for 96 yards and 2 TDs. Herman Bristol III had 10 tackles, 1 for loss, and 1 interception. Vincent Page Jr. had 10 tackles, 1 for a loss. So the Jaguars not only offensively are doing some things. Oh, I did not mention Cole Dillon, who had 19 attempts for 85 yards in rushing. Yeah. So with his longest run being 23 yards. So the Jaguars are not only doing things offensively, but defensively, they're always very stout and well prepared defensively.
Yes.
Man, let's talk about some other scores let's talk about some other scores before we talk about what's going to happen today in A.W. Mumford Stadium. So, big game last week. Alabama State versus Alcorn State. Mm-hmm. And Alabama State keeps their Eastern Division SWAC hopes alive as they defeat Alcorn 21-17. So that on the east side of the standings, Jackson State is on top with 5-0, but Alabama State is 4-1, and they have a matchup coming. I believe that matchup is next week. Florida A&M is still in the running. They are 3-1. They're going to be rooting for Alabama State when they do take on Jackson State. And let me say that Alabama State still has Grambling today. So a lot of football left to be played in the SWAC. Bethune-Cookman, who travels to A.W. Mumford Stadium to take on the Jaguars this evening, their record is 2-3 in the conference. Alabama A&M is 1-3, and rounding out the conference, Mississippi Valley with an 0-5 record. So, other scores: Texas Southern fell to Florida A&M 52-28. Prairie View A&M defeats Mississippi Valley State 17-16, Dale. And it's important to note here that Mississippi Valley State scored in the fourth quarter and decided to go for two to win the game as opposed to kicking and sending it into overtime. So,
yeah, when you lose as much as Mississippi Valley, I think they were like, look, we got to try to win it right now.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
Yeah,
we got the momentum. We're here at home. Let's win it right now.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out for them, but you can't blame them for trying.
Right. They fought all the way through, man. That's a good matchup.
And that's right. And then this time of the season, for those kids to still be playing that hard, that's a credit to their head football coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the last score there are two other scores from SWAC play last week. Arkansas Pine Bluff fell to Jackson State 41-3. Bethune-Cookman defeated Grambling 24-21. In Bethune, in Jacksonville, Florida, Bethune-Cookman gets this victory. And we talked to you last week, folks, about the press conference, the SWAC press conference, and Grambling's head football coach, Mickey Joseph, being fined $5,000 for his comments in the SWAC. And Dale, I didn't read your text on this until this morning. That was hilarious. Oh, we won't go on the air. So I had a chance to ask Coach Joseph in this week's SWAC press conference about last week's SWAC press conference, and I had a chance to ask him about his upcoming matchup against Alabama State. So let's play that clip, and then we'll circle back and talk Southern and Bethune-Cookman.
All right. Hey, nice words, man. I call Eddie Robinson, man.
Absolutely, man. I was that was really good to hear, and it sounded as though, um, as you all heard, Coach Joseph expressed some humility about his actions and his comments last week, and he really respects Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. So that's great to see, man. It's great to see black men helping black men, right?
Y'all are awesome. Yeah, always, man. Always.
Absolutely. So before we talk about that game, though, man, we've got to start off with the game on the bluff and talk about the Southern Jaguars and Bethune-Cookman. And Dale, what are your thoughts regarding this upcoming game first, and then pick who you think will win?
Yeah, man, that was a great victory for Bethune to pull off against Grambling, who's a pretty decent team, man. This is Coach Joseph's first year, but it's not the team that he probably actually wants, but he's building something there, and he's had some pretty good victories throughout the year. So to see Bethune kind of knock off Grambling, that's kind of huge. So that speaks to where their program is headed to. But I think that fun stops when they get to A.W. Mumford Stadium, especially when my boy Xavier T-Set leading the charge. Yeah, we're gonna see I don't think it's gonna be close.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be close in this one as it was with the Grambling game. They beat one Louisiana team, but they ain't gonna beat the other one. So
oh wow.
so yeah, man. So I expect Xavier T-Set to have a big game again. I think he's built his confidence up now that he's got the start. Yeah, I expect him to probably score at least a minimum of about 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, that would be awesome. That game is at 2:00 at A.W. Mumford Stadium, so it's not a night game. I'm just realizing that.
There's another huge night game in the city that we'll get to in a minute.
Makes a whole lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. We're going to talk about that other game shortly. So, yeah, man, I don't think Bethune-Cookman has enough weapons to really challenge Southern here. They play hard for Coach. However, I just don't think that they're going to be able to last very long in this game. And Southern, by the third quarter, should be going away. But what we've seen from Southern throughout this year is they're slow to start.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so that may be the same way this game, but let's hope that they've corrected that, because if you give this Bethune-Cookman team a chance,
yeah,
and allow them to start believing that they could win, things could get really ugly here. Yeah. So we don't want that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, if you give Bethune a chance, and we saw that with Grambling, they can't have an opportunity. Southern has to be able to run the ball. When they run the ball, they can beat teams, and I think they can beat any team when they run the ball. So they have to be able to get the run game started with Kobe Dillon, and when he has a great day, Southern wins. So they ought to be able to run the ball. Xavier T-Set really, he just, if they're able to run, he just doesn't need to turn the ball over at that point. But I also think that him being a mobile quarterback will help the run as well and open up the passing game for him to get those 5 touchdowns that I'm predicting. So
okay.
Yeah,
I asked Coach Woody about, since he beat one Louisiana school, what, about would he use that to motivate his team? And I didn't play that soundbite, Dale, but it was funny that you would mention that. Because that's how I look at it, right? Southern, if they get out of Texas without losing, you got to get out of Texas, Alabama, and Florida.
Yeah.
And I look at it by the states, but Coach Woody says he doesn't look at it that way, and they don't discuss it that way in his program. So I get it. Some folks just don't view it that way, and whatever works for you. I'm going to pick Southern to win here as well. Other games today in the SWAC, Tallahassee, Florida A&M travels to Prairie View A&M today for a rematch of last year's SWAC championship game.
Yeah.
Who do you think will win here, Dale?
Prairie View is really just playing for pride here. And it's always good to beat FAMU, but FAMU's got a lot more on the line here as they're playing to try to stay afloat with Jackson State. So I'm gonna go with the Rattlers here, man. I think FAMU goes into Prairie View winning that particular game.
So the Prairie View Panthers, I've talked to their head coach, and they actually, Dale, I'm thinking, and I could just be dreaming here, but this Prairie View team is one of the only SWAC teams that has a road non-conference victory. Remember, they went to Natchitoches and they defeated Northwestern.
Oh, yeah, Northwestern. Yeah. That's right.
So that plays heavy in a possible at-large bid for the FCS playoffs. If Prairie View can defeat FAMU, they still have an upcoming game against Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they can beat Jackson State and they have a victory under their belt against FAMU, and that non-conference road victory that they have, they stand an outside chance to make the FCS playoffs.
So they do got something to play for.
So they do have something to play for. And they, they've got the revenge factor. Florida A&M beat them twice last year.
Yeah, that's true. Pride, pride, Okay. All right.
Prairie also still has they have Alcorn on their schedule. Yeah. So not Jackson State. I said Jackson State. They have Alcorn. Yeah. So they can win these two games. It's still an outside chance. They have Alabama State as well left on their schedule.
Okay. That'll be a really good one.
Right. Okay. So if they can run the table, which is a big if, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they can, then maybe, just maybe, they can represent the SWAC in the FCS. Other games from around the SWAC, we talked about.
You didn't never say who you had.
Oh,
Who you got, man? Who you
I was trying to avoid that. I'm going to pick Prairie View to get the upset here.
Okay.
I am. All right. I'm going to pick Prairie View to get the upset here.
All right. What's the next game you got?
Alabama State goes to Grambling. Who you got?
Man, Eddie Robinson Jr. coming to Eddie Robinson Stadium. That's pretty cool. Even though there's no relations between the two.
That's
right. Man, Mickey Joseph just came off of a huge loss here. This is a tough one because he's coming off a two-game loss 2-game losing streak. And very close matches. You know what I mean? Each loss was very close. So I like Grambling to get it at home, but I think that Alabama State team is on the road, man. I'm gonna go with Alabama State.
So I think it's important to point out that Grambling's quarterback, Miles Crowley, is still injured. And will not play in this game. The preseason All-SWAC player of the year, actually the most outstanding offensive player voted in the preseason. So without him, I think Alabama State's defense is much too tough for Grambling, and Coach Joseph will have another bad Saturday. Yeah, Grambling loses here to Alabama State.
All right.
Texas Southern travels to Alcorn State. Who do you think will win this one, Dale?
Man, it's hard to beat Alcorn at the reservation, man. That's one of the toughest places to play in the SWAC. Texas Southern been pulling off some major ones, man. When you think they're out, they kind of kick in and do something crazy, and so I still think Alcorn at the reservation. I'm gonna pick Alcorn with this one.
Yeah, Coach Chris Dishman is finding out in his first year as a head coach how difficult it is to win on the road in the SWAC. Last week, this Texas Southern team went to Tallahassee, and now they got to go to Alcorn. Somebody really doesn't like them in the SWAC scheduling office.
That's tough.
I'm going to pick Alcorn here as well.
All right, man.
Lastly, one more game, Alabama A&M and Arkansas Pine Bluff.
A&M been fighting, man, a good fight against some of these teams, man. They had a good little fight against Southern. And Pine Bluff kind of just been, they haven't really been consistent. I'm going to go with Coach Maynard, man, to get this victory over Pine Bluff here.
I agree with you. I'm going with Coach Maynard. Well, no, I take that back. Because Arkansas Pine Bluff is really tough at home. Arkansas Pine Bluff team beat Prairie View at home. They're a different team on the road. I think Arkansas Pine Bluff wins this game based on the home field advantage. This is going to be a good game. Dale, can you handle the business for us, please, sir?
Yes, you are now listening to the Louisiana All-American Sports Show right here on 96.9 FM WHYR LP Baton Rouge Community Radio. And we're streaming live on YouTube as well.
Let's talk some MEAC news, Dale.
Yeah, man. So MEAC, Howard University. Oops, I lost my little space here. Howard University was able to get a good win, good victory last week. My Bisons defeated Morgan State. Delaware State, excuse me. Delaware State 38-0 was the final score there. So shout out to my Bisons Saturday who represented us well. And then we had the presidential thing on Tuesday. So it was a busy week in DC, right there in Northwest DC, over there on Howard University's campus this week. So this week, today, we have South Carolina State, a much tougher challenge than Delaware State here. No Buddy Pugh, but the South Carolina State Bulldogs are still 6-2 for the year. So this it's going to be a tough one, man, coming in for the Bison as South Carolina State is still rolling, man. Even without the legendary coach Buddy Pugh, man, they still rolling. and still represent the SWAC in a major way. I mean, the MEAC in a major way. So, who do you got?
This is going to be my first time viewing a football game at the illustrious Howard University. I'm going to the game this afternoon. And Coach Chanis Berry of South Carolina State is doing a phenomenal job. He did an excellent job in Division II last year.
Mm-hmm.
And now he has South Carolina State sitting atop of the MEAC conference. I watched this South Carolina State team. They are the real deal, Dale. I'm going to pick South Carolina State here.
You know who I'm going with. I don't care who it is, man. It could be Michigan State, South Carolina State. I'm going Howard Bison all day, baby, for life. I don't care if it was the Carolina Panthers. I'm going with Howard all day. All right, man. The other game in the MEAC, that's actually MEAC competition, Morgan State versus Delaware State. Who you got?
Morgan State, easily, man. How about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one as well. Morgan State is pretty good this year, man. They're pretty solid this year, man. Delaware State, the MEAC is close, but Delaware State is just struggling right now, man. They're struggling, and they're trying to get their foot planted, man. And they look pretty bad this year.
Well, Coach Hull, their head coach, is doing a phenomenal job. Actually, man, they've got a series of one possession losses.
Okay,
not last week, of course. Howard was, but prior to that, most of their losses have been by one possession. South Carolina State beat them pretty handily.
69-35. And Robert Morris, 23-0.
That was Robert Morris. Oh, wow, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, they lost to St. Francis 28-17 in a game that they led most of the way. I watched that game. Okay. They led in that game most of the way. The Campbell game, they lost 41-44.
All right. Yeah, that's a pretty good. Yeah, Campbell's pretty good, solid team. Okay,
absolutely.
I give you that.
Absolutely. So, but I agree with you. They're going to struggle this week against Morgan State. This Morgan State team, Dale, last week, they were down in Norfolk, Virginia, taking on the Norfolk State Spartans. And you thought that maybe Coach Odoms was finally going to be able to win a close football game. And once again, the Spartans fall. Morgan State won the game 38-37 last week in Norfolk. What are your thoughts on that game, Dale? Did you?
Yeah, man. It seemed like Coach Odom can only win close games against Howard. I don't know what's his issue. What's the issue, bro? But I always bet against Coach Odoms when it's come to close games, man. It's just something like it's just I don't know if it's the pressure or what. He just doesn't seem to make the same calls or something. It's just he just can't pull it off. But yeah, Morgan State. I expected Morgan State to kind of win that game.
No, on air here you picked Norfolk.
Oh, I did pick Norfolk. Yeah. I did pick Norfolk, but I after watching the game, I changed my mind a little bit. But yeah,
Norfolk jumped out to a good lead.
Yeah, but then again, Morgan State came back, man. So it was just like, I don't know. I don't know what it is about Coach Odoms, man. It just seems like he could never get on a streak. You know what I'm saying? He could never get on that Like he's supposed to kind of be the premier coach in the MEAC, I guess. And I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem like he could just pull it all together for some reason, man. He'll have 1 week he'll have a good victory, and then next week it'll be a close matchup, and he loses. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Big Worm. I mean, Big Perm.
Well, let's say that game last week between Norfolk and Morgan State went into overtime, and just like Mississippi Valley, Coach Odoms decided to go for 2 in the overtime, and they didn't make it. See, he was going for the win.
Yeah, it's just always those decisions, man. The same thing with the FAMU game. Deciding to make that run play, that RPO, instead of just letting the running back just run that sucker in.
Good point.
Yeah. So, I don't know what it is, man. But South Carolina State sitting at the top of the MEAC right now, 2-0. In conference play, 6-2 overall. North Carolina Central is sitting right behind them, 2-1, 6-3 overall. And then Howard is third. So this is a really huge game for Howard to kind of to sit at the top of the conference here if they pull off a victory here. They're 1-1 in conference play and 4-5 overall. All right, man. Let's head to the other side of town, man. Let's jump in this little caddy, man.
Let's do it.
All right, let me. There's a lot of traffic. Let me get my A-ball out. My A-ball MJG. On the other side of town, moving quickly, rolling swiftly in the hoopty ride. All right, rolling quickly in the hoopty ride. All right, man. There's a lot of people over here. On the other side of town, man.
Absolutely. Even Nick Saban, man. Nick Saban's in town.
We got college game day in town, and man, Lee Corso, and man, we got everybody here today, man. I was watching some of the broadcasts earlier when I came to the studio, and they covering everybody, man. They had the LSU women's basketball team out there. Flage was out there, and they were talking about their season as the ladies have kicked off their season, but we'll get to basketball a little later in the year. Yeah, man, they was going all around LSU, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we got a big game today, man. LSU sitting at the number 14 seed, and Alabama Crimson Tide comes to Tiger Stadium tonight, Death Valley, if you will, at the number 11 seed in the college football playoffs, as Tuesday night was not only election night, but it was also the first week of the first ever college playoff rankings.
Yes.
And so, that if you've been paying attention to college football, the college football playoffs has expanded to 12 teams for the first time ever. It originally was 2 teams, just the championships and then the bowl games. And then they expanded it to 4 teams, and then we made this major jump this year to 12 teams. And so you want to start there, man, get the 12-team rankings out?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we got the college football rankings. We have is this the right one? I'm looking at the AP polls. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, because I don't even think that matters anymore.
Well, yes, it does, because after the conference winners, it's the highest ranked.
Got you. Yeah. All right, so I got it pulled up. Oregon is sitting at number 1, of course. They're 9-0. Ohio State was number 2, 7-1. Georgia was number 3 at 7-1, which I was kind of shocked that Ohio State was over Georgia. I was kind of shocked there because I feel like Georgia had a better loss. Well, no, I don't know.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
that's the right. You sure that's the right?
Yeah, this the college. I'm on their website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 4 is Miami, 9-0. Number 5 is Texas, 7-1. Number 6 is Penn State with 7-1, and Tennessee is 7-1 at number 7. Number 8 is Indiana, 9-0. BYU, 8-0. Notre Dame, 7-1. Alabama, 6-2, and Boise State, 7-1. And then sitting on the outside is SMU 8-1 at 13, Texas A&M 7-2, and then our LSU Tigers at 62. And yeah, Ohio State should be over Georgia because Ohio State only lost came to Oregon.
Right.
At the 1 seed. Yes. So yeah, man. First, let's talk about the playoff ranking. Who do you think doesn't belong in the top 12? Or you agree with this top 12?
It's kind of irrelevant at this point, Dale. It's only the first one.
Okay.
There's a lot of football left to be played.
Yeah, about 4 games left. Yeah.
So I think, we'll get a clearer picture week 2, on the second or the third release of the seedings. Mm-hmm. So it's good to see this. I question maybe Tennessee if they should be there. Maybe not, but the other ones, I think they belong, and a lot's going to happen. Based on what takes place today in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, for sure. It's like an elimination game almost.
Absolutely.
Well, it is an elimination game, yeah.
If LSU can pull off this victory today, then, Alabama falls off the radar.
Yeah, they'll be 6-3. 3-loss team in the SEC, yeah. It's going to be very, very tough for Alabama to make any type of argument here. I felt Notre Dame, man, sitting at the number 10 seed. I felt like they were ranked too high. Notre Dame lost to the Northern Illinois team, and I just felt like they should have been somewhere on the outside looking in versus being at that number 10 seed.
That's a good point. No, that's a really good point. I could see them. I don't see Alabama being placed above them. Maybe a Boise State being above them, but
I even think a 2-loss Alabama, the teams that they lost to. Alabama has a stronger strength of schedule.
No doubt.
Alabama hadn't really played a team with a losing record, I heard. So I just feel like Notre Dame is just too high, man. I didn't understand why they were sitting at number 10. Now, I do agree that they probably should be in the top 15, but just not at number 10.
So who would you put in there that's not in there to take Notre Dame out?
I would move everybody up. So Alabama would be at 10, Boise State would be at 11, and I would even put SMU in there at 8-1 over Notre Dame.
Okay.
And I might even go with Texas A&M, but I understand the look factor plays in, and Texas A&M just hasn't been really consistent in their victories and just the look on the field. Plus, they lost to Le'Veon Moss for the season, so Texas A&M could, lose. Could go on a losing streak here on their final games But really, the biggest game they have is Texas coming up. So, and then they have Ole Miss. So they could lose both of those games without a Le'Veon Moss.
No doubt about that. He's a huge part of what they do. They do have other running backs, but there's only one Le'Veon Moss.
Right. And then the Indiana being at 8, I get everybody's raving about Indiana. Indiana's, the biggest thing about the Indiana team for when they spoke about them was the eye test. They just look good on the field, and I haven't really been able to sit down and just watch a full Indiana game, but that's I get it, but their strength of schedule is very, very low. So
horrible.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm just seeing like at number 8, they're there at number 8. And then you have somebody that looks good too on the field, like an Army, and then they're sitting at 25 at 8-0. So I didn't understand the Indiana being so high. I get it. You could put them in there, but I didn't understand why they were so high at number 8. But like you said, man, this is the first week of it. Everybody's kind of getting a feel for it. And so it'll be interesting to see what adjustments the ranking committee makes next week on the next rankings.
Absolutely. And I think Indiana may be there, Dale, because of the backlash the NCAA received last year from an undefeated Florida State team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who's not making a great argument now.
Different team. That's how
it is a different team.
Teams are.
Yeah, it is
from
a totally different team. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's not fair. Yeah,
that's
totally
not fair. What do we have some games to pick? I guess we better start off in Baton Rouge, right?
Yeah, we gotta pick this game, man. LSU versus Alabama, man. I'll let you kick it off.
Man, I'm gonna go. I think Brian Kelly gets it right today, and LSU finds a way to upset Alabama. If it's an upset, I'm not even sure it's an upset at this point. Mm-hmm. But LSU wins, and we'll hear the live tiger in the stadium today roar at least 3 times.
Jeez, man, I heard that the live tiger will be on the sideline. I'm like, oh my God, they're doing everything. Yeah, man. I think you're right. Brian Kelly gets it right. You talked about, you mentioned something last week. And you talked about rivalry games, that Brian Kelly just doesn't get these rivalries in for LSU, and especially with that Texas A&M game, right?
Yeah.
But you said you end up saying he gets this one.
He gets the Alabama rivalry.
He gets the Alabama rivalry, and that was the first thing he mentioned. In his introduction speech was we got to beat Alabama, and so I think he does understand the magnitude of this. I think the players understand it as well. And, just a lot of, he talked about earlier on, as I was listening to the College Game Day, they interviewed him this morning, and he talked about Louisiana players, high school players playing at LSU. There was a question that was asked about the Louisiana players playing at LSU and the pride that they have. And part of that pride is beating Alabama. For the last several years, this has been a huge, huge game, really for the last decade almost. This has been a really huge game. And a lot of high school kids, when they go to LSU, they want to go to LSU to contribute their talent to beat Alabama. And so there's a lot riding in this game for Louisiana kids, man. So I'm going to go with LSU Tigers. is at Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, at night, where LSU is undefeated under Brian Kelly, and several other coaches. I think they're 14-0 was the last statistic that I saw at nighttime in Death Valley. So I like for them to keep that up and pull off a victory here, man. The key thing is they're gonna have to stop Jalen Milroe. They gotta put him on, contain him, man, some kind of way. LSU does a very bad job with running quarterbacks, as we saw in the South Carolina game, as we saw in the Texas A&M game, when they brought in a running quarterback in the second half. So we saw that LSU defense struggles against running quarterbacks. Now, Alabama doesn't design very good running plays for Miro. So that's in our favor. A lot of his running plays are just broken plays. You know, they're where he's kind of doesn't have outlet to go to, so then he just ends up running. All right. So we have to contain that in a way tonight in order to find a victory for us here at Tiger Stadium. The second thing is Garrett Nussmeier has to be on his A game. And you cannot do what you did at Texas A&M. You just can't. Cannot turn over the ball 3 times against a good SEC team. And I expect him to be lights out tonight. Coach Kelly talked about on the College Game Day show, he talked about how focused he was after the loss and how focused Nussmeier was to correct all of the things that went wrong in the Texas A&M game. And he worked very diligently and very hard, and he put in extra time over the last 2 weeks to make sure that he doesn't have the same type of performance against the Texas A&M team. So I expect Garrett Nussmeier to have a good game. They also have to get the run. They got to run the ball, man. And that was part of the reason why Nussmeier struggled against Texas A&M. They wasn't able to run the ball. You cannot have a running back with 8 carries and 23 yards. You know, this is a very physical Alabama team, and we have to be physical on the line, and we have to push them off the line, and we have to make some good running plays here, and we have to have at least a running back get close to 100 in order to find a victory today. So I think all of these things will happen. I think LSU is fueled up, fired up, and this is a great time for LSU to play their best football. And this is going to be a huge stage, man. This might be one of those sellout games, those record-breaking television watching viewership games we may see tonight. So it's going to be huge, man. It's going to be huge,
no
man.
doubt
So
about
go
that.
Tigers. Go Tigers.
No doubt about that. Dale, I got a question for you, though.
Mm-hmm.
If Alabama should happen to win this game, do you think that the Tiger Athletic Foundation will allow Nick Saban to leave the city without at least having a conversation with him, trying to convince him to unretire?
Hey, man, that's a good point, man. That's a good point. But I think, Coach Saban's stance is so strong on the way college football is run now. I don't think he'll entertain that, man. I think he's really just against the state of college football. Now I hear the Saints may be trying to talk to him.
They should. They should.
So he might be in New Orleans. He might take a stop in New Orleans to have dinner at least with Mickey Loomis. So we'll see. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break.
Absolutely, man. So let's go to break.
All right. Cool. You didn't want to pick any other games?
Oh, yeah, we could do that.
All right, cool, man. Let's make this real quick though. We got Georgia versus Ole Miss.
Georgia.
Georgia. All right, yeah, I'm gonna take Georgia as well over Lane Kiffin. He does pull out some major victories and some surprise wins out of nowhere, but I don't think that'll happen today.
I would love to see him win this game, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah. All right, man. Indiana versus Michigan. We're talking about strength of schedule for Indiana. And they come up against a Big Ten opponent. Not the same Michigan of last year, but
that's right.
It is still Michigan, though.
This Michigan team is struggling, man. They're struggling at the quarterback position, and this Indiana team is fired up. I'm gonna pick Indiana.
All right, yeah. Man, if it was at the big house, I would go with Michigan. But I'm gonna go with you with Indiana as well. All right. Penn State versus Washington. Who you got?
Penn State suffered a disappointing loss last week against Ohio State. The pressure is building on Coach Franklin over there at Penn State. However, they've got enough weapons to defeat Washington. Penn State.
Yeah, I agree with that too, man. He's got to beat Ohio State, man. You at some point in time, man, you got to get over the hump. As to see them not win the last week was kind of huge for him. But yeah, I agree. They should pull off a victory this week. I'm gonna go with Penn State. And the final game, man, Colorado Buffaloes, 6-2 versus the Texas Tech Red Raiders at 6-3. Who you got?
Should be a really good football game. Colorado's excited that they're bowl eligible.
Mm-hmm.
They just committed to a $20 million NIL annual budget. So I'm going to pick Colorado here. Shedeur Sanders has a big game.
Yeah, man. I'm a go with Colorado too, man. They're making some history here for the university. And so being able to being bowl eligible and I don't think they've been eligible almost over 20 years. So this is pretty good. This is pretty big for Colorado. And Shedeur had a week off, so he should be a lot healthier. And I expect him to have a big game here too.
And Dale, I don't know if you have this one on your list there, but I'm gonna take Oklahoma over Missouri.
Oh yeah, I didn't have that one on my list. No, I didn't have that one, man. You know what? I'm gonna go with Missouri, man. I'm gonna go with Missouri on that one, man. You know, I know you've been hating on the Missouri Tigers.
The Tigers, man, they still the Tigers. Hey, I joked with one of my friends this week, and you might be even too young to remember this, Dale. These two teams used to be in the same conference. It was called the Big Eight.
Yeah, I am too young to remember that.
So this is the de facto Big Eight championship. Neither one of these teams really belong in the SEC right now.
Yeah, right now, yeah. All right, man, take us a break, man.
So Dale, man, we lost an icon this past week.
Yes, sir.
And Quincy Jones made his transition this past week, and Quincy is just a musical genius, right? You know, he produced the Thriller album of Michael Jackson, the number one selling album of all time.
Yeah.
And just his fingerprint is on a tremendous amount of the music industry. Yeah, and not only the music industry, but the movie industry, because he produced a lot of scores.
Yep.
For movies.
Not only that, but television, man. Produced television shows.
Absolutely.
Biggest show being the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Which he was executive producer of. Yeah,
So
man.
just an icon and such a huge impact on American culture, not just African American culture, but American culture. So Dale, Tuesday night, as the results of the election was coming in, I don't live too far from the Democratic National Committee headquarters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as I was sitting outside and listening to the silence, I think I heard this sound coming from the Democratic National Committee, and they were singing this song by Quincy Jones.
All right. Hold on. Let me. Wait, what? Hold on.
And for our listening audience, James Ingram is the singer of this song, but it's Quincy Jones' song.
All right. Got it. Legendary Quincy Jones. And I want to go over some things that he did. We know he's known for the Wiz,
Yeah.
which was the I guess you could say the African American version of the Wizard of Oz. Um, and he did theme songs for television show Sanford and Son, Sanford and Son, and The Cosby Show. He did those theme songs, he's television show. He was executive producer of Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Another huge accomplishment there. And also he did the Michael Jackson's albums, as you talked about earlier. Not only did he do Thriller, but he did Michael's first 3 solo projects, Off the Wall being his first project, Thriller his second project, and Bad, Michael Jackson's third album with Quincy Jones. And man, just a plethora of hit songs that's been sampled throughout hip hop. And just, man, musical genius, man, musical icon. Work with Ray Charles, work with good friends with Ray Charles, but also work with the Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra. And yeah, man, so icon, man, musical icon, entertainment icon is probably a better word for him.
Yes, that is a better word. But there you missed the whole jovial aspect of the song of the day, man.
Yeah, just one. No, I got that. I got that. I got that part.
Okay. I'm like, wow, the lyrics are, I did my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. The Democratic National Committee had to be singing Tuesday night because here we are back where we were before the song goes on to say. Seems nothing ever changes. Let's talk about the election results from the 2024 presidential election. Dale, first, the Howard University graduate Kamala Harris did a phenomenal job in the situation that she was handed, with the situation that she was handed. 100 days prior to election day, they go tell this lady that, she's going to be the nominee. And then for the first 30 days of that, someone in the Democratic Party made the decision to not allow her to do interviews. And this is on the heels of 3.5 years of the American people asking, well, where's Kamala? They pushed her into a closet, wouldn't allow her to eat at the dining room table, had her eating in the kitchen. And then once they figured out that their main guy was defective, now they go ask her to save the day. And it didn't work out. It didn't work out as a part of a backlash to the party. This was more about a rejection of the Democratic Party. No one bought this whole concept of save democracy. It's hard to push that you're trying to save democracy when you have a nominee that no one voted for. It's hard to say you're trying to save democracy. So no one ever bought that argument. No one ever bought the argument that the president of the United States has an effect on the price of bread and eggs. Just not feasible. No one's buying that. No one believed that whole aspect. And what's really disappointing, Dale, is one of the chairs of her committee is a Louisiana guy, Cedric Richmond, out of New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
You know, so the messaging, the strategy is all out of whack was all out of whack for the Democratic Party. Here's what I believe. If a political party emerges and positions itself to the left, the ideological left of the Democrats, they could rule this country for decades. Now, the Democratic Party elites are going to spend the next 3.5 to 4 years trying to convince us that the reason they lost is because they've gone too far left. That's nonsense. There's a populist movement in the country, and those same populists that voted for Donald J. Trump would vote for a Democrat if the Democratic Party was speaking to them. The Democratic Party fails to speak to those folks because they're too in bed with the corporations. Now, Donald J. Trump isn't going to do anything for that element of our society, but they feel better with him in office. They had a chance to, they know Donald Trump. Nobody knows Kamala. They don't. And I think back to when Barack Obama ran and how much time he spent on the campaign trail getting that element of society comfortable with him. Even if they didn't believe in his philosophies, they were comfortable with him. That voting bloc was not comfortable with Kamala because the elites spent 3.5 years marginalizing Kamala, talking about how nobody likes her, how she couldn't keep a staff. These were Democrat elites that were saying this. And then once their boy got out there and his age started showing and they needed Kamala, they tried to convince the rest of the public that she was the best thing since sliced bread. The Democratic Party has some serious issues here. And we as a society have some serious issues. We need to move away from this two-party system. People didn't vote for Donald Trump. They voted against the Democrats, which is why they lost the Senate and possibly the House, because they are out of touch and have become an elitist party. And it's sad to see that no one, neither party, represents people, the working people of the country. It's going to be an interesting 4 years. It's going to be interesting, Dale. And the last thing I'll say here, I'm amazed that none of our media outlets are tying the Ukraine policy to the rejection of the Democratic Party, or tying what is going on in Israel and Palestine as a reason for why the Democratic Party got shellacked Tuesday night. And both of those wars are major factors to why what happened to the Democrats happened to the Democrats. Dale, you have some thoughts here?
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna make mine real quick, man. I think Bernie Sanders said it best that the Democratic Party abandoned the working class, and the working class in turn abandoned them on election day. And so, they have to restructure. Um, Really, they have to restructure their image. We always talk about the Republican Party need to restructure their image after Donald Trump, but both of them need to, man. Both of them have gotten away from representing the people that put them in office. And it's not just the presidential race, but it's also the Senate, the House of Representatives, even some of these mayor races, the local governments. Their interest has been aligned to themselves, and also to corporations and businesses, and it hasn't represented the people at all, the interest of the people. And so while we kind of point the finger at Donald Trump, there's kind of some Donald Trump in everybody. You know what I mean? He's kind of been that mirror that has been reflecting some of the worst in everybody, on the political scene. So it's like you said, it's going to be an interesting 4 years. But the Democratic Party has to, if they expect to get the people back, they gotta come up with a better image, not better people, not better
a better message, a better platform.
Yeah, better platform, better message. It's not about necessarily the people. And I think that's what they're kind of trying to focus on, is they're trying to say, well, this black woman, America doesn't, want to vote for a black female president. They don't want to see a black female president.
And I think that's BS. She could have won.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And in some parts of America that may be true. But if it's just like in football, if you focus on the referees, you're not going to win the game. But if you focus on the things that you're doing wrong in the game, then you have a chance to win the game. Okay, bad calls happen. You know what I'm saying? So if you focus on the referees and say, well, the calls didn't go our way, that's not improving your team or your chances to win. We have to look at within ourselves and say, okay, the Democratic Party has to look at and say, here's the things that we need to fix. One, our message is just bad. When people are complaining, don't come with me with facts about other stuff. Hey, these are all the things we're doing good. We're doing this and we're doing this.
Now, what's even worse, though, Dale? What's even worse is the one that says, oh, we just got to do a better job of telling our story. No, if you were doing an effective job governing, you wouldn't have to tell me. I would feel it.
I would feel what you're doing.
Yes.
And so that's that. Their whole message, their whole tone and delivery was just bad for the last couple of years, and telling people, that, the American people just need to do more research. And it's like that's not productive. And yes, that may be true. Yes, we should be paying more attention to politics and things of that nature. But however, that's just not a good message to send out. And so both parties really just need to re-image themselves, and they really need to kind of really start with the people. The people. This is the power to the people. We got to have them in mind first. And then, I get it. Corporations run the country, and they, and corporations hire people, and so they're important too. Not to throw away that aspect of everything. But when you have people who are struggling in an economy and they feel displaced and they feel like their voices aren't being heard, and they feel like the people that they put in office are not speaking up for them, then we have a problem with the political system, and we have to fix that, and we have to address that.
It's broken at its core. It's rotten at its core. And they don't want you to pay more attention.
Yeah.
They don't want you. They said that in their sound bites because it was sound like a great talking point, but they don't really want you paying attention.
Right.
Because then you'll see all the dirt that they do.
Right. Exactly. All right, man. Let's we got that out. Let's get back on the sports.
I mean, unfortunately, we've only got time to really talk about the Saints and their historic, firing of their head football coach.
Yeah, let's cue the music real quick and jump into that. All right, so the New Orleans Saints, man, they finally did the state of Louisiana a favor, and went on put the wounded dog out of his misery. Head coach, I forgot his name already.
Me too, dude.
Dennis Allen. Head coach Dennis Allen was fired this week after losing to the Carolina Panthers. And Eric sent me an interesting fact that Mike Dicker was fired after the Indiana
after the Carolina loss.
Yeah, after the Carolina loss. Yeah, and then another head coach was fired after losing to Carolina. So that was an ugly loss, man. To have your starting quarterback back in action. Yes, you don't have your full offensive line healthy, but you still have Derek Carr in action. You did lose Chris Olave at the beginning of the game due to a concussion, which is his fourth, I believe, in his career. So we gotta, at some point, later in the month, we gotta talk about that. But again, you had your starting quarterback. Things were supposed to be looking better, and for us to lose to the Carolina Panthers in a close game, it's just ridiculous, man. So it says that the team is not buying into Coach Dennis Allen. They haven't bought in, and he's lost that locker room. And so it was the right time to get him out of here. It should have been done a couple weeks prior, but I think Mickey Loomis is almost out of touch with what the people want the Saints football organization to look like.
In 1996, Jim Mora was fired after a loss at Carolina.
Yes.
So, and the season started with so much promise, Dale. It started with so much promise that the offense was rolling. They were putting up a lot of points. Make sure you stick around to hear Noel Jackson with Music Satisfaction coming up right after our show here on WHYR Baton Rouge Community Radio. Dale, do we have a game to pick? We're about out of time.
No, I didn't even pick it up because we was going to talk.
Absolutely, I get it. So,
who do you think? There's been some names thrown out there for the head coach.
I think you either, if you want to be the best team in the NFC, you've got to separate Cliff Kingsbury from Jaden Daniels. So I think you got to go get either him or Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator at the Detroit Lions. I think those two should be at the top of the list.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with the Detroit Lions pick, even though we just had a defensive coordinator. So that I'm not. So I think we need more of an offensive minded coach
Kingsbury.
Cliff
Kingsbury.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, I know this is a long shot, but I like the Nick Saban was thrown in there. To I know that he hadn't had a good NFL run, but I do kind of like that Nick Saban's in the conversation. So we'll see, man. This is it for our show today. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can watch our show every Saturday live on YouTube, and of course, you can listen to us right here on 96.9 FM WHYR LP Baton Rouge Community Radio.
Coach. ADT JNS, love you.
All right, see you next week, folks.